Russell Wilson did an interview recently. Steve Wyche here with us now. Didn't do the interview with Steve Wyche, but was certainly making some news. He threw out the $25 million number out there. Steve, tell us what kind of money we should realistically expect Russell Wilson to get in his new contract and when that contract could be done.
Yeah, he mentioned $25 million. That's kind of the average as we're seeing quarterbacks sign deals worth about $20 million. Now, the contract talks with the Seahawks are going on. Wilson and his agent continue to say, yeah, he'd like to have a deal by training camp, but there's really no deadline to this happening. Now, I surveyed some general managers today, Dan, and they are basically saying the guarantees are probably going to be between 50 and 55 million. That's for any quarterback coming up because they're using the numbers. If they're franchise tagged after the next 2 seasons, which Wilson could be technically, those guarantees would be about 50 to 55 million. So that's kind of the starting point in terms of guarantees for quarterbacks. Remember, Cam Newton just signed a $60 million guarantee.
And when people think franchise tags, most people just think about a year. But if you franchise them a second year in a row, it goes up, what, 20, 25%?
It's a very sizable bump, and that's how come you're getting closer to that 55 million number. And theoretically, it would be cheaper for Seattle to do it now than to wait and see if he has a season this year like Joe Flacco did, wins a Super Bowl, and then that number goes way up.
Could just roll the dice on himself.
That's right.
Just like Flacco did. It worked out pretty well for him. Okay, there's a lot of new guys or a lot of guys who want new deals on the Seahawks. It seems like Bobby Wagner probably the most pressing issue right now for the Seahawks on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, the standout middle linebacker. And as one GM told me today, you don't have these problems if you don't win. So Seattle, you're winning, you have these problems. We know Bobby Wagner is probably seeking a deal that may average about $10 million, coming with bonuses. I spoke to his agent today. He said there have been talks, but really no progress. And to hear what he said basically is we'll see if anything happens before training camp. If not, Bobby Wagner is slated to make $977,000 this year. Seattle's got some bargains on stud players the past few years, Dan.
Yeah, and then you have a guy in Bruce Irvin who wanted to get a new deal but doesn't have that done yet.
Yep, they did not pick up his option for the 2016 season. He technically could become a free agent after this season, and there have been no contract talks between the Seahawks and Bruce Irvin about coming to a new contract extension right now. So he's playing this one out. He could hit the free agent market after the season. And then lastly, Dan, let's go to Michael Bennett, the guy who kind of plays in front of Bruce Irvin, the defensive end. Of course, I spoke to him yesterday. He said he is willing to sit out training camp in protest of the contract extension, or the redone deal, I should say, that he wants. Signed a 4-year, $28 million deal last year. Figures he feels he's outplayed that contract. He plays several positions. He wants more money. We don't know if he's going to get more money, but all you can do is ask.
Well, it's true. He has outplayed the contract, but he's just 1 year into a brand new contract, too. Lindsay?